right guys, so I just finished planting one of the biggest areas of annuals I think I've ever planted in my own garden. Oh my goodness, I am so excited about it. I want to give you guys just a little before tour, just a walkthrough to talk about the varieties that are here, so that when we take a look in a month's time or 2 months' time, we'll be able to see how much different this area looks. Now this is full sun. This is morning sun this way and afternoon sun this way. You can see we have a storm rolling in at the moment. Nice shady time to come out here and take a look. But this area typically gets full sun, which is what these plants want. All of these need a minimum of 6 to 8 hours of sun in order to be productive and happy, and they're gonna get much more than that on a regular non-stormy day here in Eastern Oregon. Now, I did not intend on planting up this flower bed at all. But we ended up with a huge amount of plants because when we went down to the college to do our annual planting, we do flower beds and containers down there. There was one bed that I had planned to do along their greenhouse that we didn't end up doing because they had, I think, students working on a project in those beds. So here I was with all of these extra plants. I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity to plant just a huge, massive, spectacular bed full of color. So that's what I did. For perspective here, and I hope that it's not as dark for you guys as it is for me looking at the camera screen right now. It looks pretty dim, but this is the entry to our property. You know, you drive down this way, you can take a left there. We have this huge area that's open, and we do intend on putting a gate right in here, but we're not quite ready to do that yet. Actually, it's gonna be at the other end, right up there. So I thought, well, this is kind of perfect because I can't really do anything permanent in here anyway until we have all of that stuff, you know, worked out. So this has just ended up being great. Now let's kind of go back to front. So the background here, we've got 3 purple fountain grass, and I did repeat that. I just had a handful of those. So I tried to stretch the interest. There's 3 back here. And then, whew, it watered today, you can see. 1 there, and then there's 2 over there. Then a huge drift of the Suncredible Saturn sunflowers, which some of them look like there's a little tinge of red. This looks more typical right there. Now that they're out of their containers, I think they'll start like rooting in and probably being a lot happier. We were having a hard time keeping them wet in their containers. There are some annuals like sunflowers, superbena, what are the other ones? Salvias, annual salvias. Those fill up their cans with roots so quickly that you almost could just sit them down in a bog, and that's how they would be happy if they're in a container. So I think they're going to be very much so, a lot happier in the ground. So that's that big drift there. Then I went in with playing the blues. So that's kind of our, I'm not sure what we're going to have here. This is what's going to be interesting. I think the playing the blues has the ability to get bigger than the sunflowers. However, I have experienced these sunflowers. They really like our area. They like our soil, and they typically get bigger. That's why I went with those as the back layer. We'll see how they do. Even if they're kind of the same size, they're so different bloom structure wise. I mean, we've got a spiky blue bloom here as opposed to the bright yellow. I think they'll just marry together very nicely. Next layer down is Superbena Sparkling Rose. And I think this one spans pretty much the entire, I kind of drew that interest over as far as I could. You can see how beautiful that is. And I kind of figured that Superbena would mound up higher than the Supertunia Bordeaux, which is our next layer down. Some of them looked a little bit like a little sketch, but we'll see. I think they'll be okay. Anyway, the pink ends right here, and then the Bordeaux starts in and goes around. I did add in a couple of pockets of white. I had just a handful left over from one of our container projects of the Superbena whiteout right there. And this is the Whirlwind White Improved Scaevola for 2024. So I put this in hay racks up on our fence line over there. We're doing the hay rack project. But I also wanted to put some out here in the ground so we could see how it does. Then we had 5 of the Supertunia Mini Vista White left over from the college. So I wanted to make sure to have a little bright white. And then over here, we've got a couple of different white things. Oh, and a little pocket of Scaevola here. Had the Osteospermum Bright Lights White right there, looking a little bit sadness. They should be all right. The leaves look good. It just looks like we had a storm last night and some things got a little tattery. And then we've got Supertunia Vista Snowdrift, and you can see I had 6 of those left from the college project. Next layer down is the lemon coral sedum, and I really think that that just illuminates, especially right now when it's overcast. But I made sure to break it up because once this stuff is a little bit higher, I don't think you'll see these two colors of yellow as much together, if that makes sense. This is a very cool color of green leaning almost yellow, and that's a very warm tone of yellow, so I think too close together they would not look that great. But having them broke up with all the cool tones in between I think is perfect. So anyway, that is this flower bed, you guys. What a fun opportunity. I was kind of happy in a way that the college decided that they didn't want that one flower bed planted up. Otherwise, we wouldn't have all this out here. And this is an insane amount of annuals. I understand this. I think it's like 260 plus annuals right here. Not something that I, thought would be here this year. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and we will give you updates later on. See ya.